Okay, let's dive into a really beautiful story about a tiny water drop. We're going to follow its journey to explore two pretty fascinating ideas all at once. The actual science of the water cycle and that very personal journey of stepping into the unknown and really growing from it. So this is really the big question for us today, right? As we follow our little drop, her name's Lumi, try to think about how her adventure kind of mirrors the cycles in our own lives, the cycles of learning, experiencing, and ultimately transforming. All right, let's begin. High, high up in a cloud, we meet our main character, Lumi. She's just this tiny little drop, but she is absolutely brimming with questions about the massive world she can see way down below, but she can't touch it yet. And her curiosity, it starts with the big picture. While all the other drops are just kind of hanging out, content, Lumi is always the one peering over the edge, her mind just racing. Then her questions start to get more specific, more sensory. She doesn't just want to see the world, she wants to hear it, to really experience all of its textures and sounds. And this one really gets at her deep desire for connection. She's just yearning to understand the world through touch, to actually feel the softness of a flower petal. And finally, we get this beautiful, poetic question. It just perfectly captures that pure sense of wonder that's driving her. See, for Lumi, it isn't just about facts. It's about the magic and the music of the world. So, of course, all of this questioning, it leads to the moment where everything changes. This is where her journey truly begins, and it's also where we see the very first stage of the water cycle in action. You know, there was no grand announcement, no big plan. It was just a simple, quiet, and completely unexpected shift. And that's it. One tiny little moment, a gentle slip, and suddenly she's falling. Can you imagine? It's that moment of fear of losing all control, of just tumbling right into the great unknown that she'd only ever wondered about. But then she hears a comforting voice, the wind. And the wind reframes this terrifying fall not as some random accident, but as the beginning of a purpose. It's her destiny, really, a journey that every single drop is meant to take. And that fall, well, it has a name. What Lumi is experiencing as this incredibly personal, pivotal moment is a universal scientific process. It's called precipitation. This is the moment water returns to the earth, whether it's as rain or snow or sleet. Lumi is, quite literally, the morning rain. So this is the crucial turning point for her, this huge shift in her mindset. The wind's words help her transform all that fear into wonder. The unknown is no longer this scary thing. It's an adventure just waiting to unfold. It's magical. So now that she's landed, Lumi's journey enters a whole new phase. She starts to interact with the world she'd only ever dreamed of, gathering all these new experiences. And this brings us right to the next key stage of the water cycle. This is her very first encounter. She lands so softly on a fern, and instead of being some kind of intruder, she's greeted. She's not just an observer anymore. She's a welcome part of the forest's morning rhythm. She belongs. Now, her single landing is part of a much, much larger process. Scientifically, we call it collection. It's the gathering of water after it's fallen. So while Lumi is on this one little leaf, other drops are collecting in the very rivers and lakes and oceans she's now getting to explore, sustaining the entire world around her. Her next stop, inside a rose, teaches her an even deeper lesson. She discovers this hidden beauty, a song that isn't audible but is felt. And the bee's wisdom here is just so profound. True wonder is revealed not just by seeing, but by being present enough to really, truly listen. So after collecting all these amazing experiences on the ground, Lumi's journey is still far from over. A new transformation begins, one that's going to lift her all the way back up to where she started. But she won't be the same little drop who left. I mean, can you imagine her surprise? Touched by the warmth of the sun, she feels herself becoming lighter, just rising up from the rose petal. This isn't falling, it's this effortless, gentle float upwards. And once again, science gives us a word for this magic: evaporation. The sun's energy literally changes the water from a liquid drop into an invisible vapor, and that allows it to float back up into the atmosphere. So Lumi isn't just floating, she's evaporating. Okay, so let's put it all together here. This maps Lumi's personal journey directly onto the water cycle, and it's just perfect. Precipitation, that was her big fall into the unknown. Collection was her time on the fern and in the rose, gathering wisdom. Evaporation is her amazing transformation and her rise back home. And finally, condensation, that's when the water vapor gathers to form clouds. That's her return, changed and ready for the next adventure. So Lumi finally returns to her cloud, but she is not the same curious, kind of fearful drop she was before. The journey has fundamentally changed her, and it's revealed this beautiful truth at the very heart of her adventure. This comparison really says it all, doesn't it? Just look at that shift. The drop who hated waiting and was terrified of falling is gone. And in her place is a drop who finds magic and uncertainty and feels excitement, not fear, at the thought of her next journey. She's really grown. And this, right here, is the core takeaway. Her journey taught her that the huge, unknown world wasn't something to just be watched from a distance. No, it was a place that welcomed her, a place where she had a real role to play. It was home. And we'll end on this final, really powerful thought. Lumi's journey proves that your size has nothing to do with your impact. It's a reminder that every journey, no matter how small it might seem, has the power to change both the traveler and the world they touch. So, what journey is waiting for you?